With a tall, willowy grace, the fair complexion of a classic English rose, and an endearingly naive and innocent charm, even while still in her teens, this was one lady in waiting who was poised to stand out from the crowd. However, despite her troubled personal circumstances, Diana continued to work tirelessly for charity, campaigning to improve public perception of AIDS sufferers and highlight the terrible destruction caused by landmines, as she fought for a worldwide ban on these cruelly devastating weapons of war. Ironically, this undoubtedly worthy, high-profile stance of the princess caused the royal family some difficulty, especially when Diana hit the headlines as she attempted to carve out a new life for herself. It was now extremely unlikely that Diana could still become queen, but it wasn't conclusively resolved, and the public adoration that she generated continued undiminished. And Prince Charles, as the nation's future king, was forever going to find himself overshadowed by Diana. Eventually, the couple's divorce was finalised in 1996, a year and 3 days before Diana's death on the streets of Paris. However, in the late summer of 1997, people from all over the world gathered in London, in a state of utter shock and disbelief, as the most publicised fairy tale of the 20th century came to an abrupt and tragic end. In the early hours of Sunday, the 31st of August, a shocking news story began to unfold, with the world's press agencies on red alert. Shortly after midnight, Diana, Princess of Wales, left the Ritz Hotel in Paris and got into a waiting Mercedes with her companion Dodi Al Fayed. Speeding off into the night to escape waiting reporters, the car crashed at high speed in the Place de l'Arme road tunnel. The driver and Dodi died instantly, but the emergency services arrived to find Diana alive, although seriously injured. At the nearby Piti-Salpêtrière hospital, a team of doctors did all they could, but to no avail, and the princess, who should, if fairy tales are to be believed, have lived happily ever after, died at the tragically young age of 36 at 4 a.m. Paris time. On a fine September morning, London, basking in early autumn sunlight, prepared to bid Diana a final farewell. Her funeral was held at Westminster Abbey at 11 a.m. on Saturday the 6th of September 1997. The royal family were all in attendance, alongside the Spencers, led by Diana's younger brother Charles, now the Earl. As was only right and proper, the main focus was to support Diana's 2 sons, William and Harry. So despite conspiracy theories abounding and an element of antagonism levelled at both the press and the royal family, the funeral of Diana, Princess of Wales, was as dignified as it was moving. After the service, watched by millions around the world, Diana's mortal remains were carried on an incredible journey home to Althorpe in Northamptonshire. All the way from London's familiar landmarks, northwards, the funeral cortege was greeted by literally thousands of ordinary folk waiting to pay their last respects to the people's princess. Even along the verges of the M1 motorway, entire families joined together to say their fond farewells. And by the time Diana eventually reached the gates of Althorpe for the last time, the cortege was more than an hour late. Understandably, Diana's family wanted to bury her where she could no longer be subject to press intrusion, and her grave couldn't be more private, on an island in the middle of the Oval Lake in the grounds of Althorpe. In the years since, those closest to Diana have been able to visit her grave in absolute privacy, which, as her sons face the full glare of publicity that dominated Diana's adult life, no doubt they have very much appreciated this. Diana will forever be remembered, where it matters most, in the hearts of those for whom she would have been proud to be Queen.